Hello, everybody. This is the HEF, talking to you from beyond the grave. And I gotta say, it is fantastic here in heaven. I felt the need to, I needed to speak up. I, I cannot believe what I'm hearing about the lawmakers trying to exploit sex and the sex industry for their own personal gain. It's outrageous, and everyone should be outraged. This is an infringement upon our First Amendment rights, like I spoke of so many years ago. And I was right then, and by God, I'm right now. I'm dead, dying proof of it here in heaven. Because I was way ahead of my time. And Playboy magazine changed the world for the better. Don't let anyone tell you any different. Just because you want to control everything by using sex and morality, it doesn't make it right. And Republicans are going to have to answer for it. Democrats, you're not off the hook either. Because when they were railing against the sex industry, you went right along with it. Liberals were not as liberal as they should have been. And the GOP took advantage of it. You are reaping what you've sown. Both parties. The moral majority is dead because it never existed. Now you're all the Walking Dead, which is why they created the series. Just thought I'd add that in. So let me just read a little something to you from my attempt at humor with Playboy's Little Annie Fanny. We created this cartoon back in 1954. And it was a revolution. It proved that sex and nudity is not bad, wrong, or evil. It's a natural part of human being, and we should all celebrate it just a little bit more. The birth of little Annie Fanny required a gestation considerably longer than the usual 9 months. Almost 9 years. Almost 9 years. From the beginnings in 1954, it was obvious that the editors of Playboy and the editors of Mad were kindred spirits. In those days, Playboy's original 4-man staff traveled to the printing plant each month to put their new men's magazine to bed. And the delighted roar of our laughter rivaled the roar of the presses. The Mad Men, it turned out, were equally enthusiastic about Playboy, and it wasn't long before the staffs of the two magazines had become an unabashedly effusive mutual admiration society. This admiration was first tangibly expressed in late 1956 in the form of Trump, a lavishly produced magazine of satire, published by Playboy, edited by the creators of Mad, Harvey Kurtzman, and staffed by such original Mad artists as Will Elder, Jack Davis, and Al Jaffe. Because of insufficient public regard for pure satire and harpooned by the high cost of high quality, at a time when Playboy's own fortunes weren't yet formidable enough to permit the extended underwriting and unprofitable publication, Trump closed after 2 issues. But those 2 issues are collector's items today, cherished by connoisseurs of satire. Playboy's second expression of admiration was an article entitled The Little World of Harvey Kurtzman, published in the December 1957 issue in which we devoted a dozen pages to the frantic, far-out humor of Kurtzman and Company. And of Kurtzman himself, we said, a seldom smiling, slow-talking fellow in his 30s is the fountainhead which gushes some of America's freshest and most frantic humor. His name is Harvey Kurtzman, and he has been described by Roger Price thus: he is 5 feet 6 inches tall and has a physique that is just barely noticeable and a long expression. In fact, Harvey looks like a beagle who is too polite to mention that someone is standing on his tail. This beaglishness has certain compensations. He is never ordered off the grass in Central Park, and pretty girls stop on the streets to scratch him behind his ears. He was the creator, editor, and chief writer of the satirical magazines Mad and Trump, and is now the creator, editor, and chief writer of the satirical magazine Humbug. Harvey published Humbug on his own, with combined savings of his little band of merry men, and when the savings disappeared, so did Humbug. After Humbug came Help, but it eventually disappeared too, and its limited budget never provided a real opportunity for the outstanding editorial and graphic parody of which Kurtzman is capable. However, following the editorial formula established by Kurtzman, his first magazine, Mad, had been highly successful, now enjoying a circulation of over 2 million. Since Harvey didn't own any part of Mad, he hadn't benefited by its success. But it does prove that a well-edited, properly financed humor magazine can be both popular and a profitable publication. All the while, the idea for Little Annie Fanny was slowly taking shape. Harvey and I discussed on several occasions the possibility of his creating a satirical series, especially for Playboy. I liked the idea of using a comic strip formula for the adult satire. It was a graphic technique that Harvey had handled with great success in his own humor magazines. The first issue of Mad were made entirely of comic strips, and it would provide a visually exciting change of pace for Playboy. We agreed that Playboy parody ought to have an editorial concept and graphic approach that would be unlike anything ever created before. Editorially, it should combine the adult sophistication of Playboy with the parody of Kurtzman's previous publication. Graphically, the use of Playboy's top quality printing and paper offered an opportunity unprecedented in comic strip art. As soon as it had been decided that the preliminary character of our feature should be a girl, an all-girl girl, whose physical beauty and romantic naivete would make her the perfect foil for spoofing contemporary society, Harvey provided her with a name and a full-blown, three-dimensional personality and started working on the strip and layout for her first misadventure. Then we enlisted Will Elder, a logical choice, to lend to our heroine luscious lines and some qualities of Marilyn Monroe and Brigitte Bardot. And in October 1962 issue of Playboy, Little Annie Fanny was born. It was an expensive birth. Instead of the flat, fake color used in the Sunday Funnies, we decided that Little Annie Fanny should be rendered in full color, just as the commercial artist does for a magazine illustration, and reproduced it in the same elaborate, expensive 4-color separation and process printing as we used for the photography and the art of the rest of the magazine. No other comic strip had ever been illustrated in this manner, and it soon became apparent that no one artist could handle the job alone. No other comic strip had ever been illustrated in this manner, and it soon became apparent that no one artist could handle the job alone, since a single panel could consume as much as a week of work, and there are 6 panels on a typical page, almost 24 in any average adventure. So other top illustrators, many of whom had worked with Kurtzman and Elder in the past, were enlisted. Jack Davis, Russ Heath, Arnold Roth, Paul Coker, Al Jaffe, Frank Francetta, and Bob Price have all had a hand in illustrating the episodes in this volume. And before those gifted artists could start to render in any page, there was the storyline to plan, the script to write, and the visual content to each panel to plot. Small wonder that, even with all the talent provided, no more than a half a dozen Annie features could be provided in a year. But what adventures they have been! Since her debut, Annie has wrought her own special brand of chaotic comedy, lampooning such tantalizing targets as the Ku Klux Klan, Miss America, the FBI, Christmas, astrology, psychoanalysis, women's liberation, and the underground press. In one episode after another, Annie, accompanied by her cast that includes Benton Bratbarton, erstwhile ad exec, Duncan Fife Hepplewhite, errant artist, Sugar Daddy Big Bucks, and the Wasp Wanda Homefrey, her idealistic girlfriend, Solly Brash, her agent, Ruthie, her roommate, Ralphie Towser, her boyfriend, and scaled the dizzying heights of satire, slapstick, parody, and pratfall, and a charming Pratt it is too. Here in one volume are gathered some of the farthest out, most beautifully executed episodes of the zaniest, luscious, and most unique cartoon feature ever conceived. We love our little Annie Fanny, and we think you will too. That's me, Hugh Hefner. Hugh M. Hefner. That's me. I just thought I would remind society of how we got here. Speaking beyond the grave like this, it's only something Hugh Hefner would do. Come on, people. Get with the program. Listen to the kids. They know a lot more than you give them credit for. God bless them.